It's the first impressions showdown of the year. Hey everyone, welcome to Prince of the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and welcome to the first impression showdown of 2025. So for those of you who may be new and may not understand what's going on here, a first impression showdown is basically where I take a bunch of shows that I want to check out, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm super invested in getting to react to them. And I do a first impressions of a bunch of them at once in one video. So for today, for example, we are doing Sakamoto Days, Dragon Ball Daima. Let me make sure I got these other names right. Those are the two easiest ones. Honey Lemon Soda and Zenshuu. So let's go over those lesser known two first. Zenshuu is a new Mappa anime, and I don't know much of anything else about it, but I've heard some people talking about it, and I'm like, I could check that out. I could give that a chance. Honey Lemon Soda, I think, is a romance anime, which I don't do a huge amount of, but I thought, that title is really interesting. And it kind of makes me want to at least check it out. It may not be for me. A lot of romance shows aren't. There are some that I have really loved, such as Ori Monogatari. But a lot of romance anime don't entirely do it for me. It just depends entirely on how the romance is portrayed and stuff. Because there's certain tropes and whatnot I really don't like. um, but I'm definitely interested in checking out to see what that is. And then there's the two more notable ones that everybody's heard of that have been talked about everywhere. So let's talk about those. Dragon Ball Daima has actually been out for a while. There's I want to say like episode 14 or something just aired in Japanese. But the dub just started. It just started like I think yesterday. So yeah, it's technically new in regards to that. By the way, all of these I'm basically counting as winter 2025 anime. That's kind of the theme of this first impressions showdown. Winter 2025 anime, and since the dub just came out for the winter 2025 season, I'm counting it. What I know about Dragon Ball Daima is that I think it takes place during, like, it's either during, like, the end part of Z or between Z and Super. It's something like that. Um, but I know the characters get turned into, like, kids. And at first, that was definitely a big turnoff for me. The idea, one, has been done for Dragon Ball before, even if GT wasn't technically canon. Um, but it's also something, on top of that, I've heard that there's, like, stuff about, like, a lot of lore that's expanded on. And I've heard that there's a lot of things that they really do really interestingly well. And that's what makes me want to check it out. I've heard it's pretty different from other Dragon Ball iterations, which could be good because I'm a very casual Dragon Ball fan. I acknowledge its importance to the world of manga and anime, but like I like the original Dragon Ball fine. Dragon Ball Z is really good at parts and then really bad at parts. It depends on the arc and the saga and the specific stuff happening and whatnot. GT I liked more than most people, but still was at best like a 7 out of 10. And then Super I hate. Outside of maybe like one or two characters that I like, but that's about it. Just like the actual plot and the way it's It's not even an animation thing. Like some people complained about the animation, especially early on with Super. It's nothing to do with that. I just don't think it's good. Like even beyond just, repeating Battle of Gods and Resurrection F for some fucking reason. I just don't think it's good beyond that. From the little bit I've seen, mind you, but still. Um, but like I said, I'm not a big Dragon Ball fan, so I'm going into this one as a more casual fan and just seeing if this is something I might be interested in. And the fourth one, and probably the big draw for today, is Sakamoto Days. This is one of those anime that has been so hyped up, so built up to by the fans. And all I know about it is it's I think about like a former like assassin, like John Wick style assassin or something, who's now retired and has to kind of like go about his everyday life, but like still kind of utilizes skills and stuff from his time as an assassin, something like that. Um, but there's been some interesting controversy, but about this series lately because when the series just came out, the first two episodes just came out today actually, but the opening was released prior. I have not seen the opening, by the way. But people were saying that the opening is bad, like really bad. And it was making people like assume that the anime was going to be bad in turn, which by the way is not an equatable thing to measure. But people were automatically assuming, oh, we're not going to get a good adaptation of anything. It's like all these great mangas, they're not going to get a good adaptation. It's like you're basing this off of an opening. But then I've also heard some people defending the opening saying like, no, this is actually extremely fitting to what Sakamoto Days is. It's like actually very like accurate to the tone and style and everything of the series. And so it's like I don't judge anime based on openings in the first place because that's a stupid idea. Because I've seen so many anime that have amazing openings that are not good shows. In my opinion, of course, but still. Angel Beats, phenomenal opening. Don't like the show in any way, shape, or form. Neon Genesis Evangelion, kind of hate the series. I think it's terrible. Great opening. Um, there's another one I'm trying to think of. It's more of a sci-fi series. I really like the opening, but I can't think of what the actual show is. But there's other examples too. And yeah, sometimes the opening is really good and the show is really good. Sometimes the opening is bad and the show is really bad. It can correlate, but it's not necessarily 100% equatable. You really can't and shouldn't judge an entire series based on its opening. It's just not smart in my eyes to do that. An opening should get you excited for a series, and it should represent the series in terms of, again, its tone, its style, stuff like that. But it doesn't have to always be like super hyped and have like phenomenal animation to do that either, by the way. Um, I'm interested in Sakamoto Days, though. I'm interested to see what it's like and to see if it lives up to the hype. And we are doing the dub for that one as well. So we're doing the sub for the two lesser known ones, I guess you could say, Zenshuu and Honey Lemon Soda. And we're doing the dub for the more known ones, Dragon Ball Daima and Sakamoto Days. The reason we're doing the dub for Sakamoto Days is because of the fucking cast. The main character, Sakamoto, is voiced by Matt Mercer. That's enough reason as it is. But we also have Sungwon Cho, Pro ZD, who was Senshi in Delicious in Dungeon, among various other things. He's Nekomamushi in One Piece, and a lot of other roles. He's pretty prolific at this point. But we also have Sholo Mariduana in it. And I probably butchered that name, and I apologize. I believe it's Sholo Mariduana, something like that. Sholo, I believe, is correct, though. But for those who don't know, he's the kid from Cobra Kai and Blue Beetle. And a lot of people want him to play Ace in the live action One Piece. And apparently, I think people have said that he actually knows Iñaki Godoy, so it's like there's actually already a connection there too. Um, but yeah, it's like such a wild casting. It's like I don't think he's done voice acting work before, unless I'm just mistaken. I haven't heard of any. But I'm very interested to hear his performance in this because I like him in Cobra Kai, and I haven't seen Blue Beetle yet, but um, I really do like his acting ability. So I'm really interested to see how he does voice acting in this. But yeah, I'm there was one or two others as well. I just can't think of off the top of my head who were in it that I heard about. But those were the three that I really heard about, and so that's kind of where a lot of my interest lies. Now, again, if you're new to this, here's how it's going to work. So all of our reactions are redirected on this channel, just period, because of YouTube's bullshit copyright laws. Not really laws, just policies. And because of that, we do have to redirect everything because, it's the only way to be able to show you guys the full unedited reactions for free, too. By the way, you don't have to pay. There's no paywall or anything. All of my reactions are completely free for everyone. But yeah, this is the only way to really do that. And I don't really like the idea of cutting them up because I feel like I would have to cut out valuable and interesting parts of the reaction. But because of that, they are linked in the description below. All four of them will be there for each series and everything. But here's how I'm going to do in terms of recording. So I'm going to record like one of them at a time. And then I'm going to record the afterthoughts portion. So let's say I record, for example, Daima. I record Daima reaction. I record the Daima afterthoughts. Then I move to the next reaction. And that shows afterthoughts. And back and forth like that. It's just a way to make it so that the afterthoughts are fresh in my mind for each one. For you, with this video, this redirect video, after it cuts to black and then fades back in and everything, all of the afterthoughts will be there, but they're also like sorted into chapters on the progress bar, or you can see the timestamps in the description below. It'll tell you where each set of afterthoughts starts. But the description will also have the links to each of the reactions on 100 free, so you'll be able to see all of the reactions that way. Any reactions that you want to watch. You don't even have to watch all of them, whichever ones you want to watch. Let's say you're only here for Sakamoto Days. Go to the description, click the link for the Sakamoto Days reaction, watch that, come back here to the redirect, and watch that specific portion of the afterthoughts. That's all you need to do, or for any and all shows you want to do here. So just wanted to go over that real quick to let you know how this is going. Also, I am recording this a little bit later, so because of that, the light's going to start darkening. It's going to start getting dark outside. I have my ring light already on my computer here, so we'll be able to turn that on when necessary. But I also have a light on over here, so hopefully we'll be good once the lights really start going down. Because it's just that time of day. It's just getting dark out and stuff. It's just the time I am able to do this. So that being said, we're going to get into this. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, etc., leave them in the comments below. But let's get on with today's reactions. Hold up just a second there. Before you click that link down in the description below to go to today's reaction, I just wanted to take this moment real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the awesome gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. Every single day of the week, we have some awesome Let's Plays for you. A bunch of different things to check out, and more coming in the future. And don't forget to click that subscribe button or like the video if you really enjoy the content I'm putting out. There will be more to come in the future. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get this going. And we are back here with the honey lemon soda portion of the afterthoughts. So if you are not here looking specifically for honey lemon soda, you're at the wrong one. Just search for the one on the search bar below or in the description. There are timestamps. But if you are here for honey lemon soda, we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I feel like I was just talking about this in the pre-thoughts, where it's like, oh, I really like the opening. Also, the ending. Do not like the series. Did not like this episode. I mean, mind you, at least just this episode. I can't say about the whole series, but there is, like, so much I don't like about this, and I'm going to try to get, like, my points across as much as I can, but I did like the opening and ending. They were pretty great. But let's actually talk about the episode itself. So we have our main character, Ishimori, I think, Uka. And she is a shy, cutesy, love-struck girl. That's pretty much her entire character. She's bullied for being something that she's completely not. It's like she's bullied for being like stone-faced and stoic and not reacting, yet that's all she does in this first episode. She has notable reactions. She is very much not stoic or stone-faced in any way, shape, or form. And it's like one of those things, like, I've seen various anime, at least in some cases, like a few episodes or so, where it's like, oh, we're trying to make you believe this character is this way, and this is how, like, people see them and stuff. Such as Watamote or, I can't think of the one. I can't think of what it's called right now. But the one series where it's like it's another romantic comedy series where the main girl is like said to look like Sadako from The Ring. I can't think of what it's called. But it's like with those kind of shows, these characters, these girls, very much embody like what they're supposed to be. Even though, like, the girl in the one series, like, doesn't always look like Sadako or anything, there are points where that is shown to be the case. And with Watamote, Kuroki, I think her name is a fucking weirdo. And kind of unsettlingly, like, strange. So it's like, yeah, there are shows where that kind of thing lives up to it. But this is not one of them. This is where it's like all the reasons that these bullies are harassing her is just like not a thing. It's like you're trying to paint this character as like being stone-faced and all because she's or not just stone-faced but like unreactive because she doesn't speak out. Because that's the only thing you could say about her, is that she's shy and she doesn't stand up for herself. That does not make her stone-faced. That does not make her unreactive. It just means that she has self-confidence issues. It's like, what? The problem is her kind of entire personality and character arc is built on that. And this series seems to put great importance into that character arc because it seems to focus on Miura Kai, um, sort of mentoring her into finding self confidence and being more, assured of herself. She has a massive crush on him and has since the first time they met, which she doesn't even think he remembers or anything, though it does seem like he probably does. And, like, he doesn't seem to reciprocate feelings for her right now. It's probably going to be one of those cases where it's one sided at first, but eventually evolves into a mutual relationship. Um, but he's kind of trying to teach her to help her, like, better herself. And so, with that kind of being, like, part of the main plot and theming and everything of this, you have to make there, like, be notable reason for her negative attitude in a way. Like what I'm saying is the bullies, I'm not saying like she has to be like ugly or something like that, but the bullies have to have like a reason to pick on her that just actually exists to some degree. Like, they could have just made it that, oh, they're picking on her because she's shy and quiet, and it makes her come across as, like, weird or something. Easily solvable. But instead, they just say something that just isn't the case. She is literally the most reactive character in this. Kai, who seems to be super popular, by the way, is the least reactive character in this. And mind you, he has had reactions to things going on still, but he's still the most stoic person that we've seen in this series so far. And it's just like, yet he's super popular, and the most reactive person is being made fun of for not being reactive, and it's like, just, what? On top of that, Kai starts off as very much kind of a standoffish dick to her. And I've never been a huge fan of the kind of like enemies to lovers or simple or similar kind of things in anime and other media. It can be done well on occasion, such as She-Ra and the Princesses of Power actually did it fairly well. Although technically that's friends to enemies to lovers. Because they started off friends first. But it's not done well here because the fact that she's in love with him and he's just acting like a rude asshole to her, like even to the point of like saying she annoyed me, so I'm splashing her with this honey lemon soda that's going to leave her all sticky and messy and, honestly in need of an actual shower, not just wiping off and wearing gym clothes. It's like, he's a dick. And him just like, defending her at the end doesn't fix that. And him like putting it kind of under the idea of like teaching her to stand up for herself doesn't fix that. He's still a dick. And he was an absolute asshole for what he did. That's not just going to be resolved because he does something that could be perceived as nice. It's like, I don't sense any level of chemistry between these lead characters right now. And I know it's just the first episode, but it's like I actively don't want them to get together. It just feels toxic to me. And I'm not saying like he has to like match her shyness or be like exactly the same as her, because there's a lot of issues with that as well. But the fact that he's like an asshole to her is just not okay. That's not healthy at all. And again, it might get better, and based on the opening and the way they are, like looking at each other and, hanging out with each other and stuff, it probably will. But it's probably only going to be like that after they've already started experiencing like true feelings for each other. And the fact that this entire romance would then at least initially be predicated on a one-sided infatuation with someone who is abusive towards you, that's not something I can get behind. On top of it, like pretty much every character seems so obnoxiously one note in this. The two other friends, I think one was Endo, I want to say, and then the other one I don't think we got a name for. I could not tell you anything about their personalities or characters because they were so bland and like generic that it's like they didn't really have personalities and characters outside of a singular trope for the one for Endo, when she was like being like cutesy and goofy in her reaction to the teacher calling her out and stuff. It's just like I would never remember any of these characters. They have nothing to them that makes me invested in them in any way, shape, or form. And again, maybe that expands over time, but the point of a first episode is that it's supposed to hook you in. And that includes, as part of that, having characters that are going to invest the reader, the watcher, whatever the form of media might be. In this case, the watcher. The viewer it has to be invested in the characters right off the bat for them to want to continue watching. They have to be invested in the story. And at least for me, I'm not. I'm not invested in either of those things. I couldn't care less about the romance or the story or Uka's character arc that they're setting up. Because I don't care about Uka as a character. She's a big nothing sandwich of a character for me. As much as I'll defend her in terms of the fact that she is super expressive, like exceptionally expressive, compared to literally every other character in this, with Endo probably being the second most expressive that we've seen so far. Outside of that, it's like she doesn't really have much of anything else going for her as a character. And this is all my opinion, mind you. If you like this first episode, if you like these characters, that's perfectly fine. This is just my opinion. It's all subjective. No harm, no foul. I also feel like the art style is a little like just not my thing. And what I mean by that, I talked about it during the reaction, but it's like I don't like the eyes. Specifically on the female characters. The male characters are better, but the female characters, their eyes are so big. And I'm not talking about just the general eye shape. I'm talking about the like irises and everything within. They're so big and like the way that they're designed looks so creepy and off. And it's just like I'm just like every time they're on screen, I'm just staring at them like, who designed those? Like that just does not look good in any way. Like the designs otherwise are like whatever, I guess. They're not great, but they're not bad. It's just the eyes for the female characters are so off-putting. Like actively like unsettling. Like I can live with the mother looking like she's 2 years older than her daughter. A lot of anime do shit like that. But the eyes just, it's so distracting from everything else. Again, specifically for the female characters for some reason. They're just made so creepily large. The male characters' eyes are fine. It's just the female characters, and especially the main character having the eyes that are the same color as the soda, which is very obvious there. And of course his hair as well. But it's just like it's weird. It's so weird. I'm uncomfortable by it. But yeah, it's just I didn't like this. I'm sorry. I tried, and again, I love the opening and even the ending. And I'm not a big fan of a lot of anime endings. But the opening and ending were great. Did not like at all the actual episode. It's like this is not for me, and as such, I'm not going to continue watching it. Not even on my own time. I am just not interested. I don't care. I'm not invested. I don't want to see what happens next. I have absolutely no interest. Um, but I will give the credit where it's due to the opening and ending. The songs are absolutely banging. Mostly the songs, mostly the music, because the visuals of the opening are just kind of generic. The visuals of the ending, though, are pretty unique, pretty interesting. I'll give that I'll give that credit there too. But those are my thoughts on this first episode of honey lemon soda. I keep wanting to say honey lemon iced tea. Honey lemon soda. Um, I didn't like it, but I'd love to hear what you think. Even if it's different than my opinion, let me know down in the comments below. And if you are here for other reactions as part of this First Impressions Showdown, check those out. The reactions, once again, are down in the description. And we will continue on with the other portions of the afterthoughts for those other reactions. So, yeah. Thank you for tuning in, and let's continue. And we are back with the Dragon Ball Daima portion of the afterthoughts. If you are here for another series portion of afterthoughts, you're in the wrong place. The timestamps are down below, or you can go to the progress bar, should lead you right to where you want to go. But for the Dragon Ball Daima portion of the afterthoughts, we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, like I said in the pre-thoughts, I'm a very casual Dragon Ball fan. Like, I've seen all of Dragon Ball, all of Dragon Ball Z, all of Dragon Ball GT, and I've seen all of, like, the first couple arcs of Super, and then a little bit of, like, things randomly strewn throughout here after. But I really didn't like Super, so I just kind of stopped watching for the most part. Um, so I really mean this when I say that it's not just been a long time, but I don't think I've ever been as hyped and excited as I am for Dragon Ball, like anything, before this moment. Because it's like, while the Buu Saga is not necessarily the best, I would say the best is either the Android or the Cell Saga, or maybe if you want to combine them both together. The Buu Saga is probably my favorite, just on a personal level. There's just so much I love about it, that just I have a lot of fond memories of. For one, like I said, I absolutely adore Buu. But like Supreme Kai and Kibito, Deborah, Babidi, Great Saiyaman, Videl and Hercule and everything, or Mr. Satan, whatever you want to call him. Just so much of that arc, that saga, really just stuck with me more than any other. And so the fact that this seems to be like developing off of that, obviously it directly follows it. But the fact that it also seems to be following up on it with a lot more lore that it delves into regarding it, that it's developing the lore that we've already had from that saga, on top of being exceptionally well animated, great voicing, and a really interesting, what I would refer to as a shadow villain, because it's like it's clearly trying to paint King Goma as the main villain, but I don't think he is. I think Zenshuu is the main villain. Like, there's so much setup and prep for her character here that it just seems like it's trying to like lead you into this false expectation of who the real big bad of this is going to be, and I really like that. Also, Zenshuu just seems really interesting so far. Or it's Zenshuu, right? I keep saying Zenshuu because that's kind of how that same word is pronounced by the character Alti in One Piece when she says that. And I love Alti from One Piece, by the way. So it's like that instantly came to mind when I heard Dr. Zenshoo's name. But, yeah. She clearly is being built up to be a bigger deal than King Goma. And considering Goma's like design and overall vibe, it's like he's more goofy than like Garlic Jr. It's like he's not the main villain. I'm very sure of that. And obviously do not spoil anything for me, because I'm just going to say this right here and now. I am reacting to this. Like I said, I have not been this excited for anything Dragon Ball related probably ever. Whether it's a new series, a game, anything. Because as someone who's always been a super casual fan of this series, I've never really had a reason to. I always felt like Dragon Ball was super overrated. I always felt like it was like I understand its impact on the world of manga and anime, and I never will deny that, but I've never really gotten into it personally. In terms of its story, in terms of its action even, and so much more. The characters tend to be the best part of the Dragon Ball franchise for me. Like, the characters are always so interesting and exciting and fun. Just in case you're wondering, some of my favorite characters outside of like Boo include Bulma. I fucking love Bulma. I've always loved Trunks. Vegeta is an easy pick. And so on and so forth. I actually don't really like Goku that much. I actually think he's not a great character or a great person, but that's an entirely different argument. And I'm not going to start a whole big shitstorm about that, because I've had like a lot of arguments, a lot of debates over that, so I don't want to start an entire thing over that, so just keep that in mind if you comment. We're just going to have to agree to disagree on that. But I like that this first episode is like half recap and half setup. Like this episode is purely reminding us what happened before and setting up for the future. Giving us a taste of the new while reminding us of what we loved about the old. And I really appreciate how it was done, because the recaps were done in a way that made them interesting. Seeing the new characters, basically feelings about what was happening. Getting to see their commentary. They were kind of doing their own reaction. I like the voice acting. All the voice acting was good for the new characters, plus, of course, the old characters. Like, no issues there. Yeah, I really liked this. And yeah, the visuals are definitely part of it. Like I kept saying, it looked so goddamn good. Like, I'm not even gonna hate on Dragon Ball Super visuals because of like the random frames here and there that people bitched about when that series was coming out, especially in the early portions of it, where it's like, oh, this single frame here that you actually have to pause to even notice looks bad. And it's like that people who were like bitching over that, it's like you have to pause to even notice that. And you have to like pause at the exact right moments. It's like that's such a ridiculous thing to complain about. Also, I've kind of said before that I don't think that is like the most important thing to worry about in a show in the first place. If the story, the characters, the just entertainment value alone is still good, the show could look like absolute shit in terms of its visuals and still be entirely watchable. Um, it's also my kind of my big argument in defense of season 2 of One Punch Man. It's like, oh yeah, it doesn't look as good visually, but one, it doesn't look as bad as people say, and two, the second season is literally better in every single way than the first, except the visuals. It's like the animation's not as good, but literally everything else is drastically better than the first season. The character work, the story work, everything. The music, the voice acting, it's such a vast improvement over the first season in everything except animation. But that's all anybody cared about. Everyone was bitching about season 2 of One Punch Man because of the animation and nothing else. And it was dumb. It was stupid. But I'm so glad that season 3 is still happening. I'm so excited for that. That's definitely going to be a reaction series this year. You can look forward to that. But yeah, with Super, my issue was not the animation. I just don't think it was well written. I don't think like the character work was as good as like with even Z or the original or even GT. I'm one of those weird people, believe it or not, who thinks GT was good. Not great or anything. It had issues, but it was definitely not like terrible like everybody liked to say. I strongly disagree with that, but it's all personal opinion. It's all subjective. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. I can't tell you you're wrong for that. Um, but yeah, I like these characters so far. Goma feels very much like the kind of goofy Dragon Ball villain you're supposed to not really take seriously at first, but becomes a bigger threat later on. Um, his demon slash Kai assistant guy, it said his name a couple times, I think, but I can't remember it right now. Um, he's pretty interesting in and of himself. He definitely seems like a bit of a yes man and a bit of a good assistant type character, but I think that he's hiding a lot more. And I think he might become a bigger threat than Goma could even hope to be. And then, like I said, a Rinsu or Arinsu or however you want to pronounce it. I'm just going to say Arinsu for sake of ease. Because it's how I want to instantly say it, you know? She is definitely the most exciting new character so far. And not just because she's hot. Though she is hot. And again, they really focused on the fact that, like, she has some big knockers. Like, they made a point of showcasing that. Like there wasn't like super like heavy jiggle physics or like bouncy noises or anything like I've seen in some anime. But like they were not hiding that. Which is really interesting too because like Dragon Ball has had like characters who have like female characters who have like larger breasts, I guess, but they're never really focused on like that. So it's a really interesting choice. Um it's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with it inherently, but yeah. Uh, I'm interested though in Arinsu, Dr. Arinsu, because she seems very like scheming and conniving of a character. She's a villain she's a doctor. She's very smart. She does a lot of research. And I think that's going to lead her into being like a really interesting villain. I like villains who have an intellect to them, who aren't just like, muscle heads, basically. I want a villain to be smart, to be like very tricky, to be like one step ahead of the heroes. So I'm very excited to see that. On top of the like Majin and Boo stuff, it seems like we're gonna get more lore on even the Namekians and all. We find out just in this first episode that the Namekians were demons, and I don't think that was ever stated before. Because King Piccolo, I think, thought he was a demon or something, and like they were originally thought to be demons, and that's why Piccolo Jr., the Piccolo we know now, didn't know he was Namekian at first. Um, Again, I'm going off of stuff I haven't watched in a long time, mind you, but um, we find out they actually are. I mean, the Namekians now have probably been so far removed from the demon realm that they're not really considered demons anymore. They're descended from demons, but still, we also see like that their powers go beyond even what we could have imagined. Like this this Namekian, I can't think of his name right now, but the one that they have in the demon realm who created their Dragon Balls is like thousands and thousands of years old. And he's like, although he's a little senile, he's still very powerful, powerful enough to even be able to restore the Dragon Balls ahead of their time after use. And it seems like it does take some effort, but it's pretty easy, it seems, for him. Like, he doesn't have trouble with it. I'm just very curious to see where this goes. And I want to react to it. Which is, I really didn't expect that. I went into this honestly expecting, like, oh, maybe I'll be into it enough to watch on my own time. But I wouldn't be surprised if I walked out of this not interested. But instead, I'm actually excited for it. Like, I'm actually genuinely really excited to see more. Like I said, though, no spoilers. Do not tell me anything about what's to come. If you want to remind me of something that happened in, like, the original Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or whatnot, that's fine. Or if something I said was, like, wrong or whatnot, please feel free to correct me on that if it's something that has been stated before. Just no spoilers for the future of Daima. I don't know when we're going to be able to get to this. It's going to be put on my list, but we only have so many slots during the week. I can't get to everything right away, but we will get to this in the future. This is something I'm absolutely going to be reacting to. So we'll see. There's options. I'll figure things out. Don't worry. But let's get on to the other stuff. If you're here for other reactions, once again, they're linked down below. And you can check the progress bar or the timestamps in the description to see exactly where the next portions of the afterthoughts are, when they go to and when they finish and everything. So with that being said, let's continue on. And we are back with the Zenshuu portion of the afterthoughts. If you are here for another set of afterthoughts, you're in the wrong place. Check the description down below for the time codes, or you could just check the progress bar. It'll tell you where you need to go. But if you are here for the Zenshuu portion of the afterthoughts, we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I've seen a lot of isekai anime. And I've obviously heard of a lot more because the genre has become very oversaturated, I guess. There's just so goddamn many of them. Um, and I think Sword Art Online really kicked that ball rolling. But I went into this not knowing at all what to expect because, like I said in the pre-thoughts, I didn't know anything about this going into it. Um, I hadn't seen anything of it, but I've just heard some people talking about it and whatnot. And I was just kind of curious. It was Mappa. I wanted to give it a chance because I tend to like a lot of Mappa's stuff, even if their work practices aren't great. But I wanted to see what it would be like. And so I'm watching this, and as we're starting out, it's like I'm thinking, like, okay, this seems like it's going to be something like Shirobako or Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin, where it's about, like, the industry and animation, in specifically this case, but some of those have been like about manga and everything too. And that's what I'm thinking. And we kind of get hints there that I really should have picked up on sooner, like with the other creator, the other director dying, which kind of makes me think that they're gonna be seen in this world too. By the way, but I'll get to that. Um, but it what I instantly keyed on into with that was that this manager, if it's the same manager or something, could be possibly potentially suspicious. And I was like instantly concerned, like the food might be poisoned and everything, and it did end up being the case. Yeah, was correct about that. She died, as a lot of these isekai tend to go, and was sent to the world of this failure of an anime film, where she knows everything that's going to happen, knows these characters, but in one moment, using this new power she's unlocked, which is the ability to bring her art to life, she's able to completely alter the course of this world and completely change what's going to happen. So yeah, I went into this just really not knowing what to expect at all. But it wasn't this. It certainly wasn't this. And it's like, I mean, one thing you have to take into account, like, and that I expected going into this, that one thing I did expect was that it would be super well animated, because that's just Mappa. And unfortunately, it might be due to, again, bad work practices, but yeah, it is really well animated, really well voice acted. I like the character designs. I have no issue with any of them, really. I really like Unio, but of fucking course I do. I like My Little Pony, so no surprise there. Um, but like just with everything that this first episode kind of entailed, like with the tropes and even calling out the tropes of isekai and all, like a lot of isekai themselves just tend to do nowadays, if we're being honest. Um, I just really I've really come out of this just really shocked, just kind of like dumbstruck. Because I could just never have expected this. This never would have crossed my mind that this would have been like this at all. And with the fact that I'm, for the most part, not a fan of isekai, it's also surprising just how much I enjoyed this. Because it's like there's some isekai out there that I genuinely like, such as ReZero. But for the most part, I'm not into the genre as a whole, because a lot of them end up feeling very samey. A lot of them end up just coming across as very repetitive in nature and tone, and just does a lot of the same things. There are obviously always exceptions here and there, but it's just, I feel like it's not a genre I'm just super into. But this, I mean, at least I feel like, based on what I've seen and heard of, is such a unique concept and such a unique way to do an isekai that it's just, it's kind of astounding. Like, I don't know if it was like obvious or anything, but like during that entire sequence, where she's like, where her desk pops into being, and she starts, drawing and brings the thing to life, and saves the day and everything. I'm watching this and I'm tearing up, like legitimately tearing up, Not because it's like emotional or sad or anything like that, but because I'm like realizing right at that moment, it's like I'm 100% in. Like, it's just that level of hype, that level of excitement. It's like occasionally you just like kind of stumble upon a series that, at least in my eyes, for this and for me, I have almost no reason to like. It doesn't seem like it would be my kind of series. And if I actually had read the synopsis of this prior to watching this, or prior to making this video today, I probably would not have reacted to this. I probably would have kept this out of the video. Because if I just read the synopsis of this and like heard it's an isekai in general, I probably would have lost interest completely. But it's like actually giving it a chance, but not just giving it a chance blind, but also going in without knowing anything. Like, I knew literally nothing about this series. I didn't know its genre. I haven't even seen anything about it. I haven't seen any visuals or anything, so I didn't know like what to expect from like our main character or whatnot. I knew nothing going in. I was as blind as could possibly be. The only way I could possibly have been blinder is if someone literally put this on for me, and that then the title of the video wasn't even showing the title of the series. That is the only way I could have been blinder. And I think that's what helped me get into it. Because even before she died and traveled to this other world, I was already kind of like interested with just the stuff we were seeing before, because the entire hair in front of the face thing was like, why is she doing that? That's so quirky and weird. That's dumb, but in a very entertaining way. I kind of enjoy that. But then they're like setting things up, and I'm thinking it's being set up for other reasons. But instead, it's like it ends up like being directly for the isekai setup to happen. And it's just like, where did this all come from? Like, what the hell is happening here? I mean, you have like an anime shown that's basically that was her breakout anime, and it was basically like needlessly badass Sailor Moon ripoff. It's just like, what the fuck? That's like it's so blatantly a Sailor Moon ripoff, but it's like needlessly more badass, and it's like, why? Why is that what we went for? And um you just have kind of like these tropes almost being played with, even like when they're not being directly called out. And then we get to this world, and it's like, it seems like very much like a standard fantasy world, but there's just certain little things here and there, like the I can't think of what it's called, but the little sensor robot thing is shaped like a very specific kind of statue thing, like a like some kind of like um religious statue, I think. And I know what they are. I've seen them in real life, but I don't know what they're called offhand. But it's like I saw that, it's like that feels out of place. And then you see like and then you see Unio, and it's like, that is just a stuffed animal, and I want it. And it's like the instant I saw his design, I'm like, I'm just like sold on Unio instantly. And like I said, yeah, there's the entire My Little Pony connection, that of course I'm interested in the unicorn, the fluffy toy unicorn character. But even beyond that, it's just like, he's just fucking adorable. and he turns into like this majestic steed. It's like, even if I weren't into My Little Pony, that would be like kind of amazing and just everything I would want. Like, even without that My Little Pony connection. But it's like with that as well, it's just like, yes. Just absolute yes. And I have no idea where this could go at all. Obviously, if you've read like the source material it's based on, don't tell me. I don't want to be spoiled. I mean, obviously, the fact that I went into this as blind as possible made me love it as much as I did. Just going into this and being surprised at like every moment, it's like, yeah, that's a pleasant surprise for me. I don't get that surprised by something that often anymore. I I just really appreciate the fact that I had no idea what was going to happen, and I was like kind of wrong on every stage of this. Every time I thought I knew what was going to happen, it's like nope, goes a completely different route. I'm thinking like when it's like the pen in her pocket is all it's like draw, you got to draw. I'm like okay, so she's gonna draw like in the air, and it's like gonna be like one of those like what are they called? You know how it's like you can like draw like there's those like special pens that you draw like physical like figures and stuff out of sort of. It kind of can create like a like 3D model with the pen. I don't know if you've seen those. It's like really interesting in how it works, I guess. But it's like I was thinking it's gonna be something like that. She's gonna draw something in the air. It's gonna come to life and like do the thing. But no, her desk just pops out of nowhere, and she starts having this insanely well animated sequence. Like even for Mappa, that was exceptional. Like that was insane. And just this amazing sequence of just her like drawing, and then she slams it down and it like bursts to life, this giant form, this creature that shoots a laser beam to destroy all these voids, they were called. And it's just like, I'm sold. Give me more of this. I don't know, I don't know how I haven't heard more people talking about this, and I haven't heard any spoilers, but give me more of this. It's like this is like an early surprise hit for me. Um, I'm very invested in seeing more. Obviously, that means I'm going to be reacting to more of this, not just watching on my own time, but I will be reacting to more of this. Like with other stuff, I'm gonna put it on my list. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get to it. I can't promise anything right now. Um, I just don't have enough slots open at all times to get to everything right away. So it's gonna be put on my list. I'll get to it in the future. And hopefully it won't take too long, but I can't promise anything. But I might push this one forward a little bit just because of how like excited I am for it. Like I can't even like get like super loud or hyped for it like I usually would because I'm just so flabbergasted by this. I'm so caught off guard that I'm just kind of in a state of shock. Like the tone and everything, the volume that you've been hearing from me is about the most I can muster right now. Like a lot of times you'll see me like get super hyped over over a certain few series, like maybe Link Click or whatnot. Um, but I can't. I can't like. I'm so shocked by this series that I can't even get to that point. I just. It's not that I feel like tired or anything. I just feel like I haven't fully taken it all in yet. So yeah, um, this could be a very very early surprise hit option for me for this year. This one might be a big one for me. if it continues to be as good. I'm going to try to stay away from any kind of spoilers I can with this one. I'm going to like avoid those like the plague. So please no spoilers in the comments. But let me know your thoughts on this first episode. Did you like, were you as invested and excited about it as much as I was? Did you like it less, or did you just not find any interest in it? Let me know. For now, though, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And if you are here to check out any of the other portions of this First Impression Showdown, as always, once again, you can get to those different portions of the reactions down in the description below. They all link to the website 100 free. And you can get to the afterthoughts for each of those on this video. You can go on the progress bar. You can go on the timestamps in the description below, whatever works best for you. But let's continue with the rest of these. And we are here with the Sakamoto Days portion of the afterthoughts. If you are not looking for Sakamoto Days, you're at the wrong part. You can click the description below to find the timestamps for all the different parts. You can check it out there. Or you could just go to the progress bar. You can find each different part there as well. But if you are here for the Sakamoto's Days afterthoughts, we will begin with those with the spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I don't get what people were saying about the opening. I thought it was just vibes. It was nice. It was fun. Like, yeah, there were some still frames in there, but I don't think they took away from anything. It's like, based on what we got from this first episode, it's like, yeah, it's what I would expect for a series like this. It feels entirely on brand with this show. I think people are spoiled by having so many openings just be like nonstop action and be like high quality fluid animation. They're so spoiled by that, they just expect every opening to be like that, but not every opening should be like that. If the series calls for a more down-to-earth, vibey opening, then that's what should be, put up for the series. I think that this is, like, very fitting. Again, it's not going to be my favorite opening, personally, but I still like it, and I think it fits with the show. As for the episode, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was nice. It was fun. It mixes comedy with slice of life and even a bit of action. And I can dig that. I like the tone. I like the style. The voice acting is all pretty great. Yeah, this is definitely a big plus for me. I like the just basic concept of the plot. You have this very top hitman, like the best of the best, very much John Wick style, but honestly, a lot more impressive than John Wick. Like, John Wick is insane, but not that insane. Not like catching moving bullets with a chopstick insane. With chopsticks, I should say, to get it right. But yeah, it's like that's like, it's like John Wick, Mr. Miyagi, combined, and then dialed up to 11. It's wild. But we're also introduced to Shin, who is a young former co-worker, I guess is the best way to put it, of Sakamoto, who briefly worked with him prior to his retirement 5 years ago. So I'm thinking Shin's probably like around 25, 26 years old. He definitely has to be old enough to where he would have been working with Sakamoto for a bit. But young enough to where that opening portion, where it's like clearly a flashback and it shows him as being still very young. Like, he looked like he was probably a teenager when he was like, looking up to Sakamoto there. And at some point after, he joined the organization, started working with Sakamoto for a brief time, and then Sakamoto retired. And so, yeah, that seems to be the case from what we can gather. Obviously, if there's specifics ever stated for that, do not tell me, because that I would, I guess, constitute as a spoiler. I don't want spoilers for the future. I like his relationship with his family. It seems very wholesome and cute. but we also see like near the end there with the other kid, he's like he's telling Shin, well, thinking it, but he's saying like in his head, because he knows Shin will be able to hear it. It's like, do not tell him what you actually did, or I will kill you. And I mean, he knows he will, but it's like he's clearly trying. He's trying to like move past that part of his life, except when absolutely necessary. And he's trying to not tell the children for obvious reasons. So he makes sure that Shin won't do so as well. Cleaner works. Cleaner works as as an alternative to tell around like civilians and kids and all. The action was good. The art and animation, generally speaking, was. I like the music for this. Like the soundtrack was pretty good, and I think just seems like a fun show. Um, but now we get into like, do I want to continue reacting to this or not? And the answer is surprisingly no. But it's not because I don't like it. In fact, I very much enjoyed this, like I said. But I think this is one of those shows that I would rather watch on my own time. One of those shows that I think would be better watched like when I'm laying in bed at night, just kind of vibing and like chilling down for the evening. Something that would be like good to just enjoy on my own time. Um, or maybe even with other people's reactions. But I don't want to react to it myself. It's not the kind of show that I think I would really have enough to say with. Not the kind of series I think I really want to like, or I think I really am going to have a lot to put forward on. Because it seems like, again, it's going to be very slice of lifey, and I usually have trouble coming up with a lot to say for those kind of shows. I'm usually better at like discussing things and talking about things and, you know, just reacting when it comes to shows that are more story focused, more, you know, consistently moving forward rather than just kind of being its own thing. And I'm not saying that this won't have continuity or whatnot. It more than likely will. But it's probably also going to be pretty episodic in nature. I could definitely see that. And in general, it's just like, I just would rather watch this on my own time. It's just that simple. So while I did enjoy this, I don't think I'm going to react to it in the future. But I definitely see the appeal. I get why this was hyped up. And I hope to enjoy the rest of it as I watch it. So, yeah. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode? And like I said, no spoilers. So thank you so much for tuning in. And now, if you are here to also check out some of the other reactions, they are down in the description below. You can follow links to those. And here on either the progress bar or also in the description with the timestamps, you can find the afterthoughts to each separate reaction for this showdown. Otherwise, we are going to go to my final thoughts and close out this video. Okay, and we are here with my final thoughts on today's reactions. I will be giving like maybe a couple slight spoilers here, so just letting you know. But I'm going to try not to go into too much. So this was an interesting set, tackling stuff that has just come out, or in the case of Dragon Ball Daima, the dub just came out. And yeah, didn't quite go as I thought it was going to in terms of my feelings for these. Definitely was surprised more than once. But I'm very happy with how things turned out. My least favorite of these is definitely Honey Lemon Soda. I couldn't get into it. I tried. I gave it a chance. I didn't like it. My favorite of these is actually surprisingly, Zenshuu? Let me make sure I get that name right. Zenshuu, yeah. That was actually surprisingly my favorite. The one I knew, like, the least about, pretty much nothing. And yeah, it's just, it caught me so off guard in the best way. And going into it knowing literally nothing was like the best way to experience and it was good. It was so good. It was so exciting, so hype. And Dragon Ball Daima I loved as well. That would definitely be my second favorite. That one surprised me too because of the fact that I'm a super casual Dragon Ball fan, and I really, really didn't like Super. So yeah, that one really caught me off guard. And then Sakamoto Days would be my number three out of four. I really liked it, but not enough to want to react to it more in the future. It's like it's good. I enjoy it, but it's something that's like a casual enjoyment, not something that I'm gonna get super hyped over. Not something I'm gonna get really excited over. And that's fine. I like shows that I can just be casually enjoying as well. That's perfectly reasonable. But all of that being said, I'd like to know what your favorite of this set was. What was your favorite of these four reactions we did today? What was your least favorite? Let me know your just general thoughts once again down in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. You can also donate at any time. We do have donation rewards. You donate by going to my PayPal. And you can donate. Their link is in the description below. But you also can like communicate with me, whether on the Discord or in the comments, if you want to make sure if I've reacted to anything. Because with every donation you make, you get to have me react to something of your choice. It can be a movie, it can be a series, it can be a YouTube video or series, anything you want really, as long as I, haven't seen it before. And all you have to do for that is just make sure that I haven't seen it by just asking me. Like again, in the comments or on the Discord server. And then you just donate and I'll put it on my list for the future. It's that simple. And if you can't and don't want to do it, that's fine. It's perfectly optional. It's just a way to get people more invested and have a say in what I react to. And also, you don't have to donate a lot. You can donate literally whatever you want as long as it's at over $1. You can donate any amount you want. Every donation that you make, though, will get you a reward. So yeah, it's completely optional. All of my content will always be available to everyone. Nothing will ever be locked behind a paywall. So you'll get to see everything. Like I said, this is just a way to get you more involved and allow you to choose what I react to. So all of that being said, thank you so, so much, as always, for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.